Hi guys. We are in the business of designing animals now. So we have so much creativity. We can just do anything. The very first thing you need to do to start this project is to come up with at least 3 pictures. One is going to be your background, and 2 are going to be animals that you're going to combine. One title for this project is Animal Mashup. You can call it Animal Mashup. You can call yourself an animal designer. You can be whatever you want, but we're going to have a really cool design when we're done. I went through a lot of photographs to try to decide what animals I would want to bring together. And I think when you're looking for pictures, it's interesting to try to find things that are unique. So if you are going to combine 2 things, it could be interesting to say combine a bird and say a dog. A bird has wings and a dog, has feet, and you're combining animals that have just completely different features to them. So in thinking along those lines, the first thing I wanted to do, of course, was to find myself some type of a background. And I found this background, and I thought it was a pretty nice background, very crisp and clean and bright. And it already looks like this photo may have been photoshopped before, but it's a beautiful picture and it works well for what I think I want to do. So I'm going to drag this picture, and of course I can either just drag it to my blank document, and I've already named my blank document. I've named it Mrs. C Animal Designer. Okay, so that is my blank document. Going to bring it in. The picture's not that big, which means I'm going to have to enlarge it. I set my new document at an 8.5 by 11, so this picture is going to have to get enlarged. So I will, of course, go to Edit, Transform, Scale, and I will enlarge this picture so that it uses up the entire space. Okay, and if I lose some of it, that's okay. So that will be my background. All right, and when you're happy with that, just click the check mark. And I think what I want to do is to just get rid of extra tabs up here. I'm going to exit out of that so that it's not in my way anymore. Okay, now the main animal that I decided to use is actually a tiger. Okay, and so there's my tiger. And so I was looking at him like, how do I want to use him? First of all, I like the fact that he's in water. And if you noticed, my background picture is also water. So I liked the idea that he could easily be placed into some water, and that would probably work out pretty well. So a couple ways I can take him. I can go around him with my lasso tool and even keep a little bit of what's around him. He's got whiskers. There are reflections in the water. There's darkness. I like the way the ripples are here. You can even see a little bit of his body in the background. Now, I will probably have to do some adjusting to this photo once I get it, because it is going to be very dark around him, and I'm going to need to soften that up and blend that into my water. But in the meantime, I will carry him up and I will drag him down, and he's not very big. I want him to be big. So I'm going to go to Edit, go to Transform, go to Scale, and I'm just going to really enlarge him a little bit so that he just looks like he's really there. Okay, so I've placed him in the water. Before I begin bringing in any new pictures, I want to start with what I have here. So I'm going to first name him. He's my tiger, and I'm going to name this. This is my background. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to zoom in a little bit, And to zoom in, I can hit Control plus, and that will help me zoom in. Now, I do know for a fact that I don't want to have the green showing behind his ears. So the first thing I need to do is go to the tiger. If I start to erase and I have it clicked on my background, I'll end up erasing my background, and I'm not looking to erase my background. I'm looking to erase what's behind my tiger. I should, before I get started, just make a few quick glances. What do I have up here? I have a brush that's set at 60. Okay, it's a soft brush. Okay, I can tell that it's a soft brush. It's not a hard brush. Now, do I want a soft brush? A soft brush might be a good thing to use because he does have fur, and I kind of want to keep some of that fur showing. So I'll keep the soft brush. The opacity is 100%, which is really what I need. Smoothing needs to be 0. And so I should be okay with this. So I'm going to just go in, and I'm going to just start going around him a little bit, but keeping a little bit of the fur showing. Now there's going to be places, especially when I get to the water, where I might change the opacity on this. Okay, I'm going to go around his ear, and double check, make sure that you didn't miss something. I can take this eraser anywhere, and it's not going to do anything as long as it's only on the lion. I noticed that there's a little white mark there. What happened is I accidentally erased that when I had background clicked. So I'll add that back later. But in the meantime, I just want you to notice what happens if you're on the wrong layer and you start erasing. So I'm erasing around his ear a little bit, trying to keep a bit of the shadowing. I really want his hair to show, the fur on him. So just kind of taking a little bit away. There might come places when I want to see this water a little bit, where I feel like it's actually a benefit to have it. So maybe what I could do in this area is I could turn my opacity on, and I can start erasing in here, but erasing to the degree that it's just starting to blend with the water. I might need to increase that a little bit because I want it to be a softer blend. Okay, and I might just go in where the green is and just sort of go into that a little bit so that it seems like the blue water is blending with the green, so that water seems more natural. Okay, because I do want to see that blue. Okay, and so I'll just sort of go into these areas, taking out a little bit, but not everything. Don't worry about the tree or anything, because again, the only thing that's being erased right now is the tiger, not the background. Now I'm going to increase the opacity slightly so that this area blends more. Okay, I want that to be very subtle in how I blend that in. And then if I want to, again, lessen the opacity here. Now it just gives that illusion that water that was with him before hasn't quite gone away. And so I still see the water and blue is coming through, but it's very gentle. And so again, I'm going to maybe raise the opacity slightly in this area so that there's more of a blend there. Now, once I get back here, I want 100% opacity on my eraser, because this is where I want him to be completely erased. I want to only see the background. I don't want to see any of the background that was with him in this. I want this to be completely lion, or I mean tiger. I'm mixing up my animals already, and not even the same animals that I'm using. Okay, so so I've erased. Now I've got this nice big lion. Why do I keep calling him a lion? Tiger. Tiger in my water. I'm just doing a little more erasing here, trying to kind of smooth this out a little bit. I'm going to fix that little area right there that I messed up. And to do that, I'm going to go to my healing tool. I've got this spot healing brush tool right here, and I've got the brush on 21. I might make it a little bigger. The easiest way to make it bigger is to hit Control, or actually just to hit the right bracket, right bracket, right bracket, right bracket. And when I do that and I just sort of drag, oops. Oh, you know why that did that? Because I'm still on the tiger. I have to go to my picture. Now I will do that, okay? That's why being on the right layer is so important. If you're not on the right layer, you won't get what you're looking for. So, I've been able to fill in that little mark, and it's a little better than it was. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Okay, so there's my lion. Lion, why do I keep calling him a lion? Tiger. There's my tiger. This little cloud here bothers me. I just don't feel like it belongs there. It's just like this one lone little cloud. So I'm just gonna go over that with my healing brush, and I'm just sort of running over it, kind of going back and forth. But this is one way to get rid of something. There are certainly other ways. If I want to do a clone, I can click on this tool, and if you notice that circle right there, if I click my Option key and then the left side of my mouse, I have just picked up what's behind that, and if I carry it over here and click, I've just covered that section. So now that tiny little cloud that just seemed so out of place is now gone. All right, so I've got my lion in place. There are things I can do in the end, but I'll save those. The next thing I want to do is begin to add the features of this lion that are going to make it completely different. And when I saw this moth, I just fell in love with it. I love those wings. They're gorgeous. The colors, they're just amazing. It's an amazing looking moth. So I'm going to grab these wings. I think the easiest way to do it, I could do the magnetic lasso. I think I'm going to try using the quick selection tool, okay? I think if I just start clicking on this, and if I stick within the wings, I will probably do a pretty good job of getting everything I need to get all of these wings. So I'm just clicking along. And for now, I'm only worried about one wing. I'm going to do one wing at a time. Make sure I get the whole thing. If you accidentally grab a piece that you don't want, don't worry. There's always a way to get rid of what we don't want. So if I get to about here, I've got everything I need and a little bit of what I don't. There's like a tiny section here, and I really don't want his body. So now I'm going to hit the minus sign, and I'm going to decrease the size of my brush, because now I just want to get rid of some little places that I don't need. That tiny little section right there can go away. And now when I look at it, I think I have exactly what I'm looking for. So this wing is ready to go. Gonna drag this wing to my lion. Tiger! How many times am I gonna call this poor tiger a lion? He's gonna have some identity crisis when this is all over. Why does she keep calling me a lion? All right, so there's my wing. And so what I want to do is, let's see, what do I think about the sizing of it? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Edit, Free Transform, okay? Because when I go to Edit, Free Transform, I can make the wing bigger if I want it bigger, okay? If I go to Warp, that's actually going to be even better, because I can bring this wing up, okay? I can bring the wing up here. Maybe I want this wing to kind of sit a little differently, okay? I want it to sort of come out like that. Now it's very important that the wing is behind the tiger. If this wing had, I'm going to call it left wing. If this wing had ended up in front of my tiger, it would have been really important to make sure the tiger's head was in front of it, because I want this to be behind. All right, so I'm pretty good with this particular wing, and I have two options. I can either go back and look at that moth and try to grab the other side of his wing, the other wing, or I can make my life super easy and I can just click on the wing. I can click Control C, I can hit Control V. Now I have a second wing. I can now go to Edit, Free Transform. I can completely flip it, and that might not have been the best way to flip it. No. Best way to flip it, of course, would be to go to Edit, Transform, Flip Horizontal. Okay, so now it's where it needs to be. I still need to rotate it, so if I go to Transform and Rotate, I can start to turn this a little bit. It's clearly going to have to be bigger. So once I have it turned, I'm going to hit the check. I'm going to hit Edit again, Transforms, Scale, and get this wing larger. Now my issue is that the wing is behind the lion, and that is not where it needs to be. The wing, this wing, needs to be in front of the lion. Tiger? Gosh, I should give everybody a nickel for the number of times I call this poor tiger a lion. And yet he's so beautiful. Okay, so I bring the wing in, and I want to edit it. I want to free transform it. I want to warp it. Warping it is going to let me stretch this wing so that it sort of surrounds his face the way I want it to. Now the ear right there looks like it's kind of in the way. Like technically I think this wing needs to be behind that ear. So I'm gonna do a little trick in a minute here. Okay, so I've got the wing here, but you can't really see the ear. So I'm going to take my eraser and I'm going to start to erase where his ear is. And if I need to see the lion and the wing is in the way, I'll just play with the opacity of that wing so that I can see the ear well enough that I can go in and erase what needs to show, which is his face. Okay. And so if I'm happy with that, then I can go back to that wing, increase the opacity again, and now the ear is in front of the wing, just like the ear is in front of the wing on the left side. Now, those wings do come down quite a bit. I have one last transformation I want to make. Yeah. No, I'll let them stay big. Okay. So so now I've got these wings. All right. I thought about doing something, but I think what I'll do instead is maybe I will create reflections of him in the water. And so to create a reflection of him in the water, I will probably go to my clone stamp tool here. Okay, and you can see his face there. And I don't want the opacity on this to be high because I want this to look like a reflection. So I'm going to go to his face. I'm going to enlarge this circle because the circle right now is a little bit small and I want it to be bigger. So I'm going to take about this much of his face and just kind of ignore that because it's just sort of getting a glimpse of what it thinks I want to do. I'm going to hit my Option key and the left side, and then when I bring this down, whoops, got to make sure I bring it down to the water, and I'm going to have to do that again because again I need to start with his face, Option, left click, go to the background picture and stamp. And when I stamp it, now it's like you got this reflection of his face in the water there. And I might want to do that with other parts of him. Maybe I want to have a reflection of, let's say, the this is the right wing. Let me rename that. So if I go to this, and let's just say I want to see a little bit of a reflection in the water, I can then go to the water, and it's sort of, actually it made a reflection of the lion into, or the tiger into the water, but I sort of like that, so I'm not going to change that. And I might see if I can do the same thing here. Interesting. I'm going to Option click here and see if I get sort of a similar look in the water there. And I didn't get quite as much of one, so really what I need to do is I need to go to the tiger's head. I need to again click Option, click here, go back to the water, Option click there, and I get this reflection in the water. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do, is create this reflection. And I think I'm going to try it again over here because I'm not sure I like the original reflection, so I'm going to try a different one. Click there, go to the water, click there, and see what happens. I get some interesting effects here, honestly. And I wonder if I do that here. Again, you have to get the reflection from the tiger and then carry it to the water. So anyway, I've created these interesting reflections in the water. How accurate they are is a different story, but I have created these interesting reflections. I can use my paintbrush if I want to. If I want to, say, create ripples in the water, I could maybe find a brush that would be suitable for that type of a thing. Let me just take a look at this type of a brush. Now, I would probably, like, this is going to give me specks. The spacing is a little far off. I might want something more like this. And so if I use a white, and I also make sure that I use an opacity, okay, so I'm going to change it to a very light opacity. Now my brush is a little small right now, so I'm going to hit the right bracket, and that should increase the size of my brush. If I click, you can see how when I click, I get this like white spattering in the water. Okay, and it just sort of gives it kind of a spattered look in the water. All right, what are some other things that I might want to do? I have one more piece. I'm gonna get rid of my tiger. I actually thought I would go ahead and add a horn to my make-believe animal. So I thought, what a great looking horn that is. So I'm going to add to this. Right now it's on minus, that's why it's not picking up anything. I have to change it to the plus sign. Okay, this is my quick select. It's kind of small right now, so if I hit the right bracket, I should probably get a larger area, and it won't take as long. And again, don't worry if you accidentally pick up, pieces that you didn't want to pick up, because we can always remove what isn't needed. So I'm just going to go through this until I've picked up everything I think I need. I might have to reduce the size of my brush because right now it's at 150, and again I can just click the left bracket and that will give me a smaller one. All right, so I've got the whole horn, but I've got things I don't need, like I don't need his ear and I don't need his eye. So now I'm going to hit the minus sign. I'm going to hit the left bracket to reduce the size, and I'm going to try to get rid of these areas that I didn't need. So I didn't need his ear. I didn't need any of this. I really just want up to the horn itself, and don't need that little piece. And I think I've got everything. There's a tiny little piece there that I think doesn't belong. His eye seems to be flashing there. I'm not sure why, but we're gonna make sure we don't select that. I'm going to go to the move tool and start to remove this horn. All right, and of course that horn's going to need some editing, so I'll go to transform. I'll start with rotate because right now the size or the location is not exactly where I need it to be. I also need it to be in front of the wing, so I need to move the layer. Yeah, it's not, that's needs to be in the front. Okay, if I'm gonna see it, it needs to be in the front. So it's pretty big. It's very large, and And I clearly don't need the part that's covering his face. So I'm going to go to my eraser, and I'm going to enlarge my eraser by clicking on my right bracket. And I'm just going to start erasing until it looks like this horn goes behind his head. Okay, so now the horn looks like it's up there, but it's not exactly like in front of his face. It's sort of behind him. So I've created this creature, and honestly, that's all this project is about. I will probably do some fun things with my dodge tool. I'm gonna use my right bracket to make that larger. Maybe not that large, but my dodge tool is going to pull out lights for me. So if I want him to have some highlights in his horn, I could just kind of go around there, and now all of a sudden there's some highlights in his horn. And since I'm using the dodge tool right now, which is for lightening things, I'm going to use it on all of my layers. I'm going to go to the right wing, and I want that to really pop. I think that color is gorgeous. So again, I'm highlighting the things that I want to stand out. I think this part of the wing is fantastic. The colors there are gorgeous. So again, I'm going in with my dodge tool, which is the top tool there. Okay, and I have it set at 63%, and it's on highlights. Now, if I reduce the size of my brush a little bit, I could even bring this all the way down the edge here and probably really make that part of his wing stand out. Now those colors are just gorgeous. And since I really want this to be bold, I'm going to dodge the colors right there as well. I think his ear could probably, well, I'm gonna have to wait to do his ear because I'm not on that part of him yet. I'm still on the wing. So I have to finish this right wing before I go moving on to something else. Sometimes I get ahead of myself. All right, so I'm done with the right wing. Is there anything I want to burn on this while I'm on this? My burn tool, of course, is going to make things darker. You know, maybe I want to accentuate some dark tones right in here just to have that stand out more. Maybe I want it to be darker down here. So again, it's helping to let some of those colors really stand out. If I go to the horn, I'm on the burn tool right now. This is going to darken some things. So if I decide that I really need, the horn to appear dark, maybe around his head, and in some places I can deepen the colors. Right about there, I can deepen some colors here, create kind of a shadowy effect. Okay. All right, what's next? The left wing. Okay, I'm going to go back to the dodge tool, which is the one that lightens things, and you can see I'm going to lighten up that because that's just so beautiful. And I'm definitely going to lighten up the wing here. This is just popping now. Okay, and again, I have it set at about 63%, and I'm pretty happy with that opacity or that exposure. And you can experiment. When you do something and you don't like it, all you have to do is hit Control Z, go back, try it again. Okay, so I have pulled out all of the rich colors, and if I now go to the burn tool, I can do the opposite. I can make some things more dark and intense if I want this part of his wing to just be more dark and intense, I can kind of go into these areas. And now they sort of stand away a little bit where he's concerned. And honestly, I like the way the colors are just like really starting to pop now. All right, the tiger himself. See, I got it right that time. I called him a tiger. I'm gonna enlarge the picture real quick so that we can see his face a little bit. Just like we used the dodge tool to lighten things on the wings, I would like to lighten some things on him. So let's start maybe the white parts of his face, and I'd really like kind of the white hairs in his ears to stand out too. I just want him to just have a lightness to him. I want his eyes to brighten up, so I'm just clicking on them a couple times. Clicking, 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 just to brighten them up. They're almost taking on a yellow tone right now. I might lower the exposure a little bit, and I'm going to work on his nose. I need to reduce the size of my brush a little bit. Whoops. So I will left click. Where's my brush? There it is. Left click, make it a little smaller, and I'm just going to brighten up his nose so it's a nice bright pink color. That's pretty. Okay. Anything else I want to do to him? I certainly could use the burn tool on him if I wanted to darken some places, if I want some of the dark tones of his fur to stand out. And so this area is taking on some darker tones, more shadowing, maybe his mouth area. All right, I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. What is next? I think where he's concerned, I'm pretty good with him. I think he's kind of interesting. I think my background I can play with a little bit if I want to. I can go to the background, start with the dodge tool. The dodge tool, again, is the tool that makes things lighter. So if I if I click the right bracket, where is it? There's a circle there, and that circle gets bigger. And I might just want this whole side of the mountain to just sort of stand out, you know, just to bring some bright color to this piece. And maybe I want that to stand out too. Maybe these clouds, I want those to stand out a little more. Any other places where I want things to be brighter? Maybe this whole side over here will be brighter so that it almost looks like there's this lightness coming from the outside, and then it can get darker on the inside. This tree, maybe I want this tree to kind of brighten up a little bit, and who knows, maybe the water in general can get brighter up front here. Okay. And then, just about done. I can switch back to the burn tool, which is going to darken things. I can enlarge it if I want to. Now that's a little too dark. I don't like that, so I'm going to Control Z that. The exposure is 100%. That's probably why I don't like it. So let me see what happens if I just do, say, 46%. Now that's pretty dark. Is it too dark? Probably. Yeah, I don't think I necessarily want it that dark. Let's just reduce it one more time. Let's just try 18% and see what I think. And when I go in there, still I think it's too dark. Maybe we just don't need to darken that area. Let's see if the water improves at all by my making it a little richer along the edges there. That I sort of like. Okay, that I'm okay with. On this side, I'm kind of okay with adding the dark. Do I want to darken the hilltop here just to give contrast to where I lightened it? I think that works. I might, yep, I think this improves when I strengthen up the shadows. So, and honestly, I'm going to go in here because this design has a very intense look to it. The colors are intense, and I like that intensity. I like the intensity. All right, so one little thing here, I see like there's a reflection of his nose in the water. I'm not exactly sure I'm keen on seeing that reflection, so I'm going to take my spot healing tool and I'm just gonna see if I can't soften that a bit so it doesn't look like his mouth there. It just looks like colors in the water, and that I am okay with. And honestly, this whole area here has a very interesting look, and if I just want to repeat that, I can clone it by going to my clone stamp, reducing the size of the clone stamp a little bit. Try that. See what happens when I put it there. I can live with that. There we go. Soften that a little bit. All right, so I'm just gonna end it here. So your job is to create a unique animal, okay? And take whatever features of the animal you want to use and combine them. And we're gonna see what kind of interesting creatures we can create. All right. Can't wait to see what you do.